What lies beneath the most beautiful temple in the world? For 900 years, something has been locked away beneath Angkor Wat. Something that was never meant to see daylight. And when researchers finally broke through, what they found changed everything we thought we knew about this sacred place. Because the stones of Angkor Wat, they're stained with secrets, dark secrets. And they've been hiding in plain sight this entire time. Deep in the jungles of Cambodia stands one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements, Angkor Wat. A temple so magnificent, so precisely engineered, that it defies explanation. Millions visit it every year, drawn by its beauty, its mystery, its spiritual significance. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about Angkor Wat is wrong? What if this temple of enlightenment was built on something far darker? What if the true purpose of Angkor Wat has been deliberately hidden for nearly a millennium? Because beneath those ancient stones, beneath the prayers and the tourists and the beauty, there's a vault, a sealed chamber, and inside, the answer to a question no one dared to ask. Today, we're going into the darkness beneath Angkor Wat. And trust me, you're not ready for what's down there. Let me take you back to the year 1113 AD. The Khmer Empire is at its absolute peak, and a new king rises to power. His name, Suryavarman II. Now, this wasn't just any king. Suryavarman was ambitious, ruthless, visionary. He wanted to build something that would make him immortal, something that would bridge the gap between earth and the heavens. So he conceived Angkor Wat, not just a temple, a cosmic diagram carved in stone. Every measurement, every angle, every carving was calculated with astronomical precision. The central towers, they represent Mount Meru, the center of the universe in Hindu cosmology. The moat, the cosmic ocean. The galleries, the mountain ranges that surround the sacred peak. It took 37 years to build, thousands of workers, millions of sandstone blocks, each weighing up to 1.5 tons, transported from quarries 30 miles away. The engineering alone is staggering. We're talking about the 12th century, and they're creating a structure covering over 400 acres, with mathematical precision that rivals modern architecture. But here's what they don't tell you in the guidebooks. Here's what the historians glossed over for centuries. While Angkor Wat was being celebrated as a masterpiece of devotion, as a stairway to enlightenment, the locals were telling a different story, a darker story. For generations, the people living around Angkor Wat have spoken in hushed voices about what lies beneath the temple. These aren't tourist tales. These aren't legends invented for entertainment. These are warnings, passed down from grandmother to grandchild, from priest to acolyte. Don't dig beneath the temple stones. The ground is restless. Spirits walk there that should not be disturbed. Local monks would tell visitors about the sounds. At night, when the tourists are gone and the jungle reclaims its silence, you can hear them. Whispers, movements, things that have no business being there. Some claim to see shadows moving through the corridors, shadows that didn't match any living person. Western archaeologists dismiss this, of course. Superstition, they said. Local folklore. The remnants of animist beliefs in a Buddhist culture. But what if they were wrong? What if these stories weren't mythology at all? Because there was always one constant in these legends, one detail that never changed. Beneath Angkor Wat, in the deepest part of the foundation, there is a chamber, a vault. And inside that vault is the reason the spirits cannot rest, the reason the ground feels wrong, the reason that, for 900 years, no one has been able to forget what happened here. Fast forward to the 21st century. We now have technology that can see through stone, through earth, through time itself. And a team of researchers decided to point that technology at Angkor Wat. They started with LiDAR, light detection and ranging. Essentially, they flew over the jungle surrounding Angkor Wat and used laser pulses to map what was beneath the canopy. What they found was mind-blowing. Angkor Wat wasn't a temple in a jungle. It was part of a vast, planned city. Roads, canals, buildings, infrastructure stretching for miles in every direction. An urban complex that would have housed hundreds of thousands of people. But that was just the beginning, because then they brought in ground-penetrating radar, and that's when things got interesting. Very interesting. The radar started picking up anomalies beneath the temple itself. Voids, empty spaces where there should be solid rock, chambers that weren't part of the known temple design. And one signature in particular caught their attention. Deep beneath the central sanctuary, beneath the tower that represents the peak of Mount Meru, there was a cavity, large, deliberately constructed, and completely sealed. The research team compared their findings with ancient Khmer texts, with the bas-reliefs carved into Angkor Wat's walls, with the layout of similar temples. Nothing matched. This chamber wasn't supposed to be there. Or rather, it was supposed to be there, but we were never supposed to know about it. Securing permission to explore beneath Angkor Wat took years. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a sacred space. The Cambodian government doesn't just let anyone start drilling into their most precious monument, but eventually the research was approved. A small team, minimal invasive techniques, and absolute discretion. They entered through a crack in the foundation, a gap that had opened up over centuries of settling and erosion. The ground-penetrating radar had shown them where to look. With lights, cameras, and climbing gear, they descended into the darkness beneath the temple. The first thing they noticed was the smell. Not decay, exactly, but age. Stale air that hadn't circulated in centuries. The stone around them was different down here. Older, more roughly hewn. This wasn't the precise, decorative stonework of the temple above. This was functional, hidden, something built quickly, built to contain. They followed a narrow passage, barely wide enough for a person to squeeze through. The walls were damp. In some places, ancient roots had broken through, creating a skeletal network across the stone. Their lights bounced off surfaces that had never known sunlight, and then the passage opened up into the vault. The chamber was larger than they expected, maybe 20 feet across. The ceiling disappeared into darkness above them, and the floor was covered in bones. Not just a few bones, not a small burial, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, stacked against the walls, scattered across the floor. Femurs, skulls, rib cages, all of them ancient, all of them bearing the same marks, cut marks on the bones, deliberate, ritualistic. These people hadn't died naturally. They hadn't died in battle. They had been sacrificed. But it got worse, because in the center of the chamber, they found the altar, a stone platform, worn smooth by use. And carved into that platform were channels, grooves that led to a central depression, drainage channels for blood. The walls of the chamber were covered in inscriptions, ancient Khmer script. The researchers photographed everything, brought in experts to translate, and what those inscriptions revealed was horrifying. Angkor Wat wasn't just built as a temple, it was built as a consecration. A massive ritual to bind the power of the gods to the Khmer Empire. And that ritual required blood, human blood, lots of it. The inscriptions describe the process, how individuals were chosen, how they were brought to this chamber beneath what would become the central sanctuary, how they were sacrificed to sanctify the ground, to make the temple acceptable to the gods, to ensure that when Suryavarman II died, his path to divine immortality would be secured. This wasn't unusual in the ancient world. Human sacrifice was practiced across cultures, across continents. But the scale here, the scale was unprecedented. And more importantly, it had been completely erased from the official history of Angkor Wat. Suddenly, everything made sense. The local legends, the warnings, the spirits that couldn't rest. Because beneath the beauty, beneath the cosmic perfection, Beneath the spiritual enlightenment, Angkor Wat was built on blood. The research team looked closer at the temple's bas-reliefs, at the thousands of carved figures depicting stories from Hindu mythology. And now, with new eyes, they noticed something. Scenes that had been interpreted as mythological sacrifices, as stories from the Mahabharata or the Ramayana. What if they were documentation? What if the builders of Angkor Wat had hidden the truth in plain sight, disguised as mythology? They found carvings that showed processions leading underground, figures in positions of supplication, ritual implements, all of it woven into the larger narrative so seamlessly that for 900 years, no one had questioned it. The historians had been wrong. The guidebooks had been wrong. Angkor Wat wasn't just a temple of peace and enlightenment. It was a monument built on the bones of those who died to sanctify it. And the vault beneath the central sanctuary, it wasn't a secret. It was a grave. A mass grave that was sealed and hidden because even by the standards of the 12th century, what happened there was too dark to acknowledge. So, what do we do with this information? How do we reconcile the Angkor Wat in the guidebooks with the Angkor Wat beneath the ground? The truth is, history is complicated. Empires are built on violence. Sacred spaces often conceal profane origins. The beauty of Angkor Wat doesn't disappear because we now know what lies beneath it, but our understanding deepens, becomes more honest, more real. The Cambodian government has sealed the chamber again. For now, the bones rest undisturbed. The tourists walk above, taking photos of the sunrise over those perfect towers, completely unaware of what lies beneath their feet. And maybe that's okay. Maybe some secrets are meant to stay buried. But we know now. We know that the stones of Angkor Wat are stained with more than time. We know that the cosmic diagram carved in sandstone was consecrated with human blood. We know that King Suryavarman II didn't just build a temple, he built a gateway. And he paid for it with lives. The vault beneath Angkor Wat was locked for 900 years. And now that it's been opened, now that we've seen what's inside, we can never look at that beautiful temple the same way again. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Some truths, once learned, change everything. And the truth beneath Angkor Wat, it's been waiting in the darkness, waiting for us to be ready to face it. The question is, are we? If this story shook you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more hidden history that textbooks don't want to talk about. Drop a comment and tell me, should secrets like this stay buried, or do we have a right to know the truth about our past? And check out this next video, where we explore another ancient mystery that will blow your mind. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. And remember, history is written by the winners, but the truth is written in stone and blood.